All right. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you joined us today for the second part of our AAC app series, text-based AAC apps. And my name is Elizabeth Berry, and I'm an assistive technology specialist in the Simon Technology Center at Pacer Center. And we're located in Bloomington, Minnesota, suburban Minneapolis. And I'm joined today by Jackie.
Hi, Jacqueline Wilkie. I'm also an AT specialist at Pacer Center.
And if you want to contact us today, after today, you can email us at either our emails or stc@pacer.org, and that will get to us as well.
So we have a handout for you today. It'll be just a Word document handout. We will not be sharing the slide deck with you. So you can scan the QR code on your screen, and then Sarah will be dropping the link in the chat. And we'll be using Zoom as our platform today, and we'll use the chat feature, so make sure you turn that on. You can use it to get links, and the evaluation will be in the chat at the end. You can also use it to post if you're having technical difficulties to let us know, or if you have questions, and make sure that your comments are shared with everybody.
Yes, and our colleague Sarah is monitoring the chat today, so she will either answer your questions if you have them or relay them to us, and we will answer them live.
So if you're attending this webinar live on Zoom, you can receive a certificate of attendance. Sarah will drop the survey link in the chat. So you just fill out the survey, and once you're done, you'll see a link for the certificate. We'll remind you at the end what to do, but only if you watch it live.
Yes, if you're watching us on YouTube in the future, where we will be archiving the recording, thank you for watching, but we're sorry we cannot offer a certificate of attendance for that.
So Pacer Center, we do a lot of great things here. Parent advocacy is one of the biggest things. So if someone's having trouble navigating the special ed system, we have advocates who will help you with the process. And we have National Bullying Prevention Center, Children's Mental Health, newsletters and publications, early childhood. So we have lots of great information out there. Oh, Health Information Center too. So that's what Pacer does. And we are with the Simon Technology Center. So we have a few different things we do. We do information and referral. So if you have a question about technology, problem you'd like to solve, shoot us an email and we can help you find resources that might be helpful. And we also have a lending library. We have over 1,700 items and apps available to borrow for 1 month at a time.
Including all the apps we're going to demonstrate today.
Yeah, yeah, including the paid apps that are demonstrated today. Those will be available. And lending library memberships are free for Minnesota individuals and families and individual professionals. And we also do, and we have school organization memberships as well. And we do consultations, which is an informal exploration of different technology tools. So we can help you with school, recreation, independent living, work. So that's a meeting with one of us to explore different options. We come up with a list of tools and demonstrate them for you and let you try them out. And individualized trainings, a consult is more of like a wide variety of tools, but an individualized training is if you'd like training on one specific tool, like one of these apps or a smart pen or different program. We can do more specialized trainings for that. And both of those services are also free.
And they can be either in person here at Pacer in the Twin Cities or virtual if you live elsewhere, or if you live here in the cities and want to do them from the comfort of your home. All right, so as I mentioned, this is the second part of our AAC app series. And today we're going to focus on the text-based side of things, but we did a workshop a few weeks ago on the symbol-based apps side of things. And that workshop is recorded and is on YouTube. It's also linked on the second page of your handout, as well as the handout for that workshop. And I believe Sarah can also put the direct link to the YouTube video in the chat as well. So if you're interested in symbol-based apps for iPad, you can take a look at that recording. All right, so for today, we are going to briefly touch on feature matching and a little bit about different features within text-based AAC apps. But then we're going to spend the majority of our time doing app demonstrations. And we would love if you have questions or comments or things you've used to put those in the chat. We'd love to get your feedback and see what questions you have. All right, so since we are spending a whole lot of our time today on the apps, we did want to make a little caveat here at the beginning that, as always with assistive technology, this is a person-centered process. So we're starting with the individual and what features would be helpful for them, what features they need, rather than saying, oh, this is a really cool app, I'm going to use it with everyone. So we're going to make sure that we're thinking about the individual and what features they need, and then taking a look at the apps and what apps meet those needs and those features. So on your handout, there are, I believe, 3 to 4 kind of charts or checklists that have different features listed, and then you can put in the apps you're considering and check, this is a feature that I really need. Do these apps have it? Can be part of your comparison process. The first one listed from the ACE Center is specific for text-based apps. The other ones are both for symbol and text-based, so there may be some features in the last 3 if you're considering only text-based that may not be applicable for you. All right. And as we're thinking about features that we can consider when we do text-based AAC, there are a fair number of things that may be important to some may not be important, but some things that you can consider are these 10 things on the screen. And this is from ACE Center, which is out of England. They did a great webinar, which is linked on your handout, that went through each of these features in depth. So if you're interested in learning more about these features, I'll talk a little bit about them. But if you really want kind of what are each of these features, how do they work, things like that, that is a great webinar to look at. We will talk a little bit about these as we do our demos, but some things that you could do in some apps might be, can you change the appearance? Do you like the way the colors are? Can you change those colors? Does it matter to you what colors they are? For the keyboard layout, do you want a QWERTY keyboard layout, like on a physical keyboard, or that you might use on your phone? Some apps you can get an ABC keyboard with the keys in alphabetical order. Some do things with frequency, so the most used letters are available first, things like that. Their word prediction or sentence prediction. Letter codes, text replacement, and abbreviation expansion is if there are phrases you say frequently, like, for example, hello, how are you? Can you use kind of a short 2 to 3 letter code like HHY, the first 3 letters of that phrase, the first letter of each word in that phrase, and just type in HHY and it will give you that phrase. So it can be a time saver. Are there options to have phrases saved? What are the options for voices, which is a big difference between some of these apps, as well as can you share things to text messages and things like that. So that is a very brief kind of overview, and as we go through and demo some of the apps, we'll touch base on these a little bit more. But again, if you want kind of in-depth on these, that ACE Center webinar is a great tool for you. All right. So now we are going to dive into our demos here. And Jackie's going to get us started.
Okay. So the first app we'll be showing is called Vocable AAC. This is a free app. And because it's free, it has some limitations, but it can still do a lot of great things. So it has a few categories on top that you can navigate through.
I don't know.
Sorry, we're using a mouse again. Oh, and it has, yeah, a few categories that you can add your own phrases to. And you can also add your own categories that are specific to you and add words. This is available for Android and iOS.
And there are differences between the Android and iOS versions.
Yeah, yeah, I'll get to that. It also has its own built-in keyboard that it uses. And it does not have a word prediction option. The difference with the Android is you cannot add your own phrases to the preset categories, but you can add your own categories and add what you want to those. And then you can also hide the categories that are here, so you can customize it that way, but it is a little bit more limited. And for the voice, it uses whatever voice is selected on your device. So you can't change it through the app. You'd have to do that through your device. And one kind of cool feature it has is the listen mode. So you can ask it questions and it'll give you answer options. So like if a caregiver is asking someone a question, it comes up with options through AI. There's a smart assist box you have to check to make that an option. So we'll go to list, and you can also, there's a voice shortcut you can turn on. Hey, Vocable, what would you like for lunch?
It's a little slow.
A little slow, yeah. And it comes up with some lunch options. Oh, oops. Yeah.
One thing I will note is if Jackie can go into the settings so we can see the listen settings. If you don't have the smart, I think it's like called smart AI questions on and just have listening mode, then you can only ask it like a yes, no, or either or question. If you want the smarter questions, you have to turn on that smart assist there at the bottom.
Yes, that will give you more options. And yeah, you can ask it like, where would you like to go today? All sorts of different options. So that's kind of a cool feature. And yeah, I think that's about it. Like I said, you can edit, it has some basic, personal care, basic needs, and you cannot edit the colors or anything. So this is how it looks. If you don't like the color blue, you're out of luck. So like I said, great for a free app, but definitely some limitations.
All right. So next, are there any questions about that one, Sarah, before we move on? Okay. So next, we're going to look at another free app, which is called TD Talk by Toby Dynavox. Get started here. And so in this app, I also cannot change the colors. So this is black, and that's kind of what you get. But in this app, I have my keyboard kind of built in here at the bottom, so I can, type my message. Whoops. Clearly can't type today. There we go. But as you can see, I do have some word prediction here. So I can tap that and get my message. Another feature of this app is if I were typing a response to what someone had said to me, and then I got interrupted, like sometimes happens, but I was in the middle of this response, I can click this little two bar button over here and get another message window. But then if I were done speaking here and writing my message, I can click it again and I can go back to what I was working on before. So I can kind of save my original thought without having to delete it and start over. The other feature that this app has, as you can see across the top, it has some quick messages from the general category. So the general category comes as a default with the app. So you can add in, I believe, up to 6 categories. So when I tap into the whole category, I still see the quick messages at the top, which I can tap when I'm in my keyboard, but I also get some other messages down here that I can say.
See you later.
See you later. And as with that voice, it also uses the voices from my device that I do in settings. So again, I don't have as many choices that I might have in another app for that voice. But then if I go back to my keyboard here, I can show you how we can add different categories. To get to the settings on this app, you swipe up on the letter T, and then a menu comes up. Whoops, I didn't do it fast enough. And then my settings come up. And in this app, I can't do much in terms of changing the settings. But in this conversations tab is where I can go in and edit my quick messages. So, and my topics. So you see here my general and my work that I can have, and I can have up to 6 topics. And then within them, I can add ones at the top will be the ones that show on my screen. When I go back, I'll show you that. But then I can add up to 3 pages of pre-stored messages here in my category or my topic. So if there are phrases that I use a lot, you could do that. So I added this category of work, so I could put some phrases in here that I might need a lot at work, maybe do another one for home or whatever categories make sense for you. And then if I get out of here and go back home, I can over here on the top left, right now I have my kind of general quick messages, but if I tap that, then you see all of the categories or topics you've added. And if I switch to work, now the quick messages at the top are from that category. So if I tap that,
What time is the meeting?
with those quick messages, I don't have to get out of my keyboard mode. So it's a nice way to have some phrases added, but also be able to still use your keyboard. So that is TD Talk by Toby Dynavox, and Jackie's going to show us TD Snap, which is also by Toby Dynavox.
Okay, TD Snap, if you remember from the previous webinar, they have symbol-based versions as well, but this is the text-based. And this app is $9.99 per month, so it is subscription-based. So the main screen it comes up with is your quick fires. So these are things you might need to say at the ready. And you can edit and add more by just pressing an edit button here. And then you can add what you want. And this one also has its own built-in keyboard and word prediction as an option.
And if you don't want the QWERTY keyboard, there are options in the settings to change this to an ABC or a frequency keyboard as well.
Thank you. Let's see, and it also has in your dashboard, you can, that looks different. You can like connect with Alexa, Google Home speakers, and that has preset options to use those. And it also has phrases that you can edit. These, like if you go into them there, some of them are like my family doesn't have much. That's something you'd have to make. Yeah, and you can customize those and have different options at the ready for you if you need them. And this one also has some built-in voices. There you go. Oh yeah, voice. There it is. So it has like what they call a cappella voices, which are more natural sounding. And those are available through the app.
And they come with a subscription.
They come with the subscription, yes. So that's what makes this different from some of the other ones, that it has those good quality voices.
Maybe you want to try saying something?
Yep.
So they can...
Yeah, so let's see. I can say, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Or
I am hungry.
yeah, and you can press the speak button.
Thank you. I am hungry.
Yeah, so that's how you use that one. Is there anything else I think I should share?
You can change it so that one, as she was typing and was saying what she was typing out loud, you can change that. So if you want it to only speak when you're done, you can turn off the say as you go. So that.
Yes, that is a good point. That is a setting.
Another cool feature about this app is there's that copy to button up there in the upper right corner.
Yeah.
So if Jackie were to say type something.
I need.
Okay, and then go back to phrases. And say copy to button. It would allow you to select a button and put that text there. I mean, we probably wouldn't, I mean, this is the category, overall category, so you probably want to go into the category before you did that, but
Yeah.
it's a nice, quick way to do something. If you type something and you realize, oh, I say that a lot, I should just save it.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good feature. Okay.
All right, Sarah, do we have any questions so far? All right, we're gonna keep going. All right, our next app is called Clarocom Pro. And this app is $16.99 for the full version. There is a free version called Clarocom, which will tell you kind of the difference. But it's a nice way to kind of explore and see if it might be the fit for you or for whoever you're exploring options for. So with this one, I have my categories down here on the left-hand side. So whatever I tap here, so if I tap coffee shop, then the phrases that I have added in that category show up here on the right. Everything here is the default, what comes with the app. One unique thing about this one is it does have, you can do fill in the blank phrases. So they have in some different coffee orders, but maybe, you know, someday you feel like I want a hot chocolate. So if I tap, can I order a blank, please? It brings in a fill in the blank box and you could put in hot chocolate. So I'll do that real quick here. And then if I say, okay,
Can I order a hot chocolate, please?
it puts it up there in the message window. So this app, if I tap here on the message window, will bring up the keyboard and it uses the keyboard on your device. So this is the iPad keyboard. But one thing that you will notice about this is the bottom kind of word prediction layer is the iPad word prediction, but the top row here is the app's word and sentence prediction. And the sentence prediction that it uses is from the phrases that you have added to your device. So, and the cool thing about it is you can also type in, kind of uses abbreviation expansion built into it so that if I know a phrase is in there like, hello, how are you? I can just type in the first letter of each word and it brings up the phrases that are in there that have
Hello, how are you?
that are built into, that are programmed into my app here. The one thing you will notice about this app is it does have some a little better voices, but if I go into my settings here, one of the differences between the paid and the full, the paid and the free, I'm sorry, is here I have Samantha and Tom. I was using Samantha, which is so-so. On the free version, you would just have the voice from your device here. But if I wanted the voices like that were in TD Snap that Jackie was using that were more natural sounding, were higher quality, in the paid version, I can go into, whoops, just gonna, to the settings here, to setting gear, and then go to the store. And then those higher quality voices are add-ons in this app. So they're an in-app purchase. So if I scroll down here, you can kind of see there's all different kinds of voices from different languages. But then the voice that Jackie was using in TD Snap, I believe, was Will, which is, so these are all $1.99. You can, if you click on preview down here, listen to it before you purchase it. But unlike some of the other ones, other paid apps that we're going to show today, the kind of better voices are an in-app purchase in this app. And then one of the other big differences between the free and the paid version of this is that here in the paid version, I have a plus button. I can add new categories and I can add new phrases. In the free version, you can't add new categories. So that is one limitation of it, but it allows you to kind of explore and see what the different options are. All right. Next, we're going to look at speech assistant AAC.
Okay, so this is speech assistant AAC. It is $23.99 for the full version for iOS. There's also a free basic version for Android, or an in-app purchase for the full version on Android is $10.99.
And then they also have a version that if you're using switches to access, they have an Apple version called Speech Assist Switch that they recommend you use because it's better designed for switch control.
Oh, yes, thank you. So this one has your categories and action buttons on the right-hand side. And these can be edited and added. You can add your own categories as well. And on the full version, you can edit which action buttons are there. So it has, let's see, let's just go to, oh, come on. So you can say,
I would like coffee with milk.
you can, yeah, use the phrases that are there, or if you click, you can access the built-in keyboard on your device and the word prediction that's built into that. Let's see, and you can also, there's a big screen mode. Oh, okay.
It's to share your communication partner. So they're thinking that it's or on the other side, but you can also press the A button there as well.
Okay, yeah, I don't know why it's upside down.
No, it's upside down because they're assuming your communication partner is across.
Oh,
it's-
yes, yes, that's a good point. Yeah, so if you're in a noisy environment, you want the person to be able to see what you're saying, that's an option you could use. Oh, hang on, sorry, thank you. I'm having some flipping going on here. Yeah, so like I said, a variety of phrases, you can add your own new phrase, new category. Oh, and then if you type something, then you can add it to the category there pretty quickly. Would you like to add it? Yes. And there you go. So it's pretty easy to edit and make customize to how you'd like to use it. And it also has the option that Elizabeth was talking about, the abbreviation expansion, which you have to turn on. Yeah, abbreviation expansion.
So the default is it will be off.
Yeah,
but
so that's something you'd have to turn on. So,
and then in the settings above that is where you can program them.
yeah,
So you have to pick your own and do your own. Some apps will have some programmed already.
yeah. So if you want to say, hello, how are you? HHY. And now it comes up with your phrase.
Hello, how are you?
And you can customize whatever you need for that. And that, I believe, I don't believe that's available on the free version. And some difference. So the free version for Android has some limitations. You can, like, it doesn't come with all these phrases or all these categories here. So like there's one that says words that has like a lot of words that you might use. That's not available on the free version. I don't think it has the family category, but you still can add your own categories in the free version. And also you can't, for this one, you can change the colors of your buttons, and that's not an option in the free version either. So a few differences, but still pretty good to have for something free. Yeah, and it also has the multiple conversations that Elizabeth was talking about.
No.
So if you get interrupted and you need to say something different, you're in the middle of a sentence, you can switch your tab. So you can have 3 different conversations
And I
going on.
believe that's also something that's only in the paid version on both apps. On
Yes.
both Android and Apple.
Yes, that, I believe so. Yep, that's right. There's only one message window in the free version on Android.
One thing I also like about this app is a lot of these apps, as we've seen, use the iPad keyboard, which is great for some people, but may not be for everyone. So if Jackie goes back into the settings there, wait one second. One thing I like about this app is there's lots of different things you can change. And so in some of them we've seen, you know, Vocable was purple, and if you don't want it to be purple, you kind of out of luck. But if you don't like this kind of gray blue color scheme, you can change that. But you can also go in and they have a custom keyboard. It's off by default, but if I turn it on here, then I can use kind of all of these settings here. I can change how many rows there are. I can change the color scheme. I can use a larger font size and things like that. I have lots of different options that I can explore. But even without changing anything, if I go back here and say done, now if I tap up here in my message window, I have a different keyboard. The keys are bigger than the iPad keyboard. And if I type, I still get my word prediction here with a custom keyboard. So if you're looking for bigger keys, you know, some of the other things that you don't need that's on the iPad keyboard or your device keyboard, this app allows you to kind of customize it that way.
Okay.
All right. You have any questions, Sarah? All right. So our next app is called Dialogue AAC. And this app I can either have comes in 60, Essence 60 or Essence 84. So I'll show you both of them. But if you're familiar with Pranky company's accent devices and their Essence page set on their dedicated devices, this is an iPad, an Apple app version of those page sets. So what this one does, thank you, Jackie. It is this app is $99.99, I believe. But in this app here, my keyboard is built into the screen. So I have it kind of across here. And then across the top here are my categories. So if I click About Me, then I get some stored phrases. And again, I can add my own, but if I press here,
I use this device to communicate.
then I can have phrases that way. So you can get some phrases and categories across the top. But if I go back home here, I can also type things. So then I get my word prediction here in this yellow section across the screen here. I do have some tools here down in the lower right-hand corner. This gets me some of my punctuation numbers, if I wanted to share it, things as well. The other thing I can do is if I go up into my menu, first thing I want to do here is if I go into my edit abbreviations, this is your abbreviation expansion part of this. If I go in here, you can see that they have a whole lot of these already built in. So, I mean, I can scroll, there's lots of them here. That you could just go right in and type TGIF period, and it would say that out loud. But I can also add my own here as well. So it asks for what I want to type in. So kind of a 2 to 3 letter code that's not already being used and not something that I would want to not expand. And then what I want it to expand to. Cancel. The other thing up here in this menu is my settings. And here I can do a lot of different things. This is where I can look at my voices. Unlike some of PRC Saltillo's other apps, most of the acapella voices are in-app purchases in this app. I do get a little bit more than just the standard voices on my device. So you can see kind of like Caitlin here, I could download and things like that. But kind of this red circle with the A in it are the acapella voices, and those are an in-app purchase that if I go to the store here, we can see. So you can listen to them before you buy them. Oh, they should be enabled. That's right. I forgot about that. Haven't enabled them. That's why recently they made them free. So now they should, if I go back. So if that happens to you, do the same thing. Because now they should be, say done. Go into my settings. Oops. Now I should have those. Let's see. Yep. So now they're available. So now I could use Heather. I'll show you what she sounds like in just a second here, but this allows me to edit different things, what's being spoken as I type. And then this app, if I go down here, here's where I can do some accessibility if I need to maybe do activate on release. So button only activates once I lift my finger off, or how much release time I need. I can do that here. And then down at the bottom, if you're using a device that allows head tracking, then you can also use this app with head tracking. Similar, I don't think we mentioned this, but you can also do the same with Vocable as well.
Yeah, with Vocable, head tracking is the default.
Yes,
So
you do need to have a device that has that option. If your device does not have that option, this head tracking part of the menu won't show up. So if it shows up, then you've got that. Turn that off, because otherwise it's gonna, but if I go back here. And then.
I use this device to communicate. Ty.
So that's Heather, so she's a little more natural sounding. So in this app, you just have to go into the store as I did and kind of make sure that those are marked as available. And then if I go home here real quick, this is the 60 button option in this app. But if I go up to my vocab here and say choose new vocab, then I get an option for Essence 84, as well as options in Spanish. So I'm going to change to Essence 84 here. This version of the app, now you can see some of those things that were in the tools menu before are on the main screen here. So kind of my share text, some of my arrows and my caps lock and stuff like that are now here on the main page. But I also can, it works similarly, so I can, oops, maybe we should clear. So I, oops, see, can't type and look and talk at the same time today. So you can start typing, but as you can see, it also gives some sentences here that I can just.
I need some help.
Clearly typing today, I need some help. So there, and so you can really change from here, you can edit and add your own phrases and categories and things like that. So that is Dialogue AAC. All right. So our next app is Proloco for Text by Assistiveware, and this app is $119.99. And you can use this either horizontally this way, or you can turn it vertically as well. So I'm going to show it to you landscape wise. There we go. And so on either side of the screen, I have some kind of categories and things that I can use called my quick blocks. So over here on the right, I have some quick talks where if I just tap these,
Please be patient while I write my message.
things that I can type here right away and they don't go into my typing space, which is here in the middle. If I tap the down arrow or press and hold the label here, I can get the other options available over here. So I do get my history over here. Or if I don't want, if maybe sometimes I want the quick talk, but I don't want it all the time, I can just press here and it will slide over. And then if I press again, it will come back. Over here on the left, I have some other quick blocks. So this first one is sentence prediction. So if I tap here in my writing space, you can see down below here on the keyboard, in the white blocks here, I do get some word prediction from this app, but I also get sentence prediction here. So I need, so basically anything that is saved in here will come up here in my sentence prediction. So and then I can just type.
I need to arrange a ride.
And then the things you say more often will come up faster in the sentence prediction as you start using it. The other options here on the left are my phrases. This is kind of, let me get the keyboard out of here, where kind of your categories. So if I go into about me, then it brings me to kind of some pre-programmed things that you could say. There are also options for, quick sentences that you could add that are specific to you. But then if let's see, I'll go to shopping. And I can tap those.
Which do you think I should get?
And they're there. And then I can also, if I tap here, kind of this full screen option, that brings my text pad portion of it full screen. I can flip it around down here if my conversation partner were across from me. And then I can get back here. The nice thing about this app is it does have these quick blocks, but if some of these are not useful for you or you want them to be kind of different, I can go up here to my settings. And I can change a whole lot about this app. So if I go into appearance, maybe I want larger icons, things like that. Maybe you can really customize the font, the color, so the background blue is the default, but you can always change that. So I can change the font, the size, and really make it your own. I believe you have a fair number of font options, yes. So, you can really make it the best for you. I can change, and then here is where I can change my quick blocks. So there is even a quick block for word prediction, which I don't know if it's on by default, it might be. I usually turn it off when I'm using the app because I already have word prediction down in the keyboard, both from the app and from the iPad, so it seems a little overkill. But here's where you can make it shown or not shown, and then what side of the screen you want it on. So you can really customize where things are and make them work the most for you. And then down here, if you wanted to, you could even turn off their word prediction on the keyboard and you could just use the iPads if that was something that you wanted. I go back here. When I go into my language and speech, those kind of higher quality voices that were an in-app purchase in Claricom Pro, but we're in some apps like Dialogue, AAC, and TD Snap are also available in this. So when you buy the app, there isn't another in-app purchase for the voices. And this app separates them so that if you're just looking for a certain type of voice, you can search that way as well. And then if I go back here, whoops. I think. And into my prediction here. This is where you can really tailor your word prediction. So how many words you want them to predict, how many sentences you want them to predict, and then what order you want them to predict. So in this app, as you can see, they do have that abbreviation expansion feature. But what they do is if I go here, they add it into the editing phase. So if I were going to say add something to my quick talk here, and say add down here at the bottom, I could add an item. And here is what I could put in whatever my text that I want it to speak. And then the label I want it to have, whoops, too far there. But here is the abbreviation that I want, you know, like, hello, how are you? If I wanted to just put in HHY, I could do that here. So this one does it through each kind of phrase you're entering rather than just in the settings. Do we have a question? All right, what is the question?
Summarize.
Okay.
This is from someone who said that their child,
Mhm.
adult child, does not like the vocal component to his communication.
So he doesn't want it to speak. Okay.
And so the question is, can all of the ones that work on an iPhone have the voice turned on?
That is a wonderful, the question is, for the ones, I'm assuming they have an iPhone, can you turn off the voice for the app? And that is something, you know what, that is a question I have never thought about, but it's a great, very good question. So let's see here. So if I go back into my options and into my language and speech, you could turn the volume in this app. You could turn the volume all the way down. So then I'm assuming this wouldn't speak, you know, so it wouldn't speak here, but the nice thing about this is I don't have to turn the volume down on the entire device. So then I'm assuming if I went into another app, oh no, it turned the volume down on the entire device. That's good to know. So that is device, that's for the entire device. So let's go back here. I mean, if nothing else, you could turn the volume down. That doesn't work, you know, then you would have to be changing the volume as you're, but I'm wondering if I go into some apps, this one, like ones that more have a message window, which we'll go back to. I just want to make sure I'm not missing something here. Oh wait, what if I turn off? I can't turn that off.
You know, the second part of it was, is there an app that would be better for this type of thing?
Yeah, so this one right now, right off the bat, I'm not finding something. That doesn't mean there isn't. But if I go back to an app like Speech Assistant here, and go into my settings here, and then my speech. Let's see here. There are some where you can tell it. So this one has speak characters off, speak word, speak sentence. So it should only, this one, whoops, sorry about that, wasn't like clearly, where'd it go? There it goes. I'm just curious. You could go in here if I long press on a word and edit. I'm just curious if my thought process here was that if there was one where you could just type in the message window, well, like in Proloquo for Text, where I can just type here and turn off all of the speak words, speak characters, this app would only speak right now unless I tap the speak there. Oh, it clear. Did our volume go away? Let's see. We have lost our entire volume here. Let's see. I turned it back up there.
I need to arrange a ride. Which do you think I should get?
So the one thing that I would explore if you're looking for something that doesn't speak is here I can just type without pressing play. The main thing that you might want to look into, I'm in Proloco for text. Thank you, Sarah, for pointing that out. If I go into my edit here, is to look at, can I tap on a button? And then see here, there's a category of text to speak. And so you could, if it's just not something, you know what? Send us an email, because I think this is something we need to explore a little more in depth. But my thought would be that if you can turn off some of those options, that could be a way to do it. The other thing you could do is use something like Notes on the iPad or the iPhone and just could type that way. But then it doesn't allow you to save things either. So this is something that I'm gonna have to think a little bit on, which is always fun. Unless you think of anything else, Jackie.
No, I can't think of anything.
But as we go with the rest of them, let's kind of keep that in mind and see if we have any ahas as we're going here. So this is Proloco for text. And then I can do, can just type here in the middle, and then show it as well, that way. All right. So our next app is Predictable. And this is an app from the United Kingdom, and they just came out with version 7, I believe, last week. And basically you don't have to repurchase it every time they come out with a new version. Basically, if you buy the app, it comes with the updates. So this app here, again, my keyboard here is built into the screen, so I don't have to use the device keyboard. And I'll show you how it works here. This one is one that's a little bit more expensive. If you're getting it on an Apple device, it's $159.99. And on Android, it's $174.99. So here on my main screen, kind of these these blue buttons here are my word prediction. So if I start typing, you can see they change. These kind of peach or tan colored buttons here are my history. So if I press type here and then speak it.
Type.
There we go. You can see it's now added to my history. These lighter blue buttons over here are my favorites. So maybe things that I say a lot. So yes, no, please, you can edit these as well. Thank you, things like that. And then over here are my controls. So I can share things, and that will bring up your device's sharing tools. So I could share it that way. Whoops. And then it has some things down here where this button here, some of the other apps have this, we haven't highlighted very much, but if I press this kind of phone looking button.
Please bear with me while I use Predictable to speak.
So it has that kind of built in. Some of the other apps like Claricom and Speech Assistant AAC have kind of a alarm bell, or a doorbell kind of sound to kind of get people's attention, and as well as tell them that you're typing something. And then if I tap this button here with the 4 squares, this one has categories kind of on another screen here. So what I put in favorites here,
Favorites.
those are the things that will show up in that favorites bar on the home screen with the keyboard. So the things that are in this folder. But then I can also go into have different things.
Food and drink.
So that,
Can I have a glass of water, please?
things that I would want to say that way. And then in my gear here is my settings. In this app, I can change a whole lot about it. One thing that is, considering it is such an expensive app that they don't have is some of those higher quality voices. So if I go in here to my standard voices and then into English or whatever language you want. And then again, these are all of the voices that are on my device. So that's what it's pulling from. It does have the option, if I go back here, for if you have a pre-built voice through Acapella and some of the other services, you could use them, but it's not part of the app. It doesn't come with the app. So that's one thing to know. Let's see. It does also have some abbreviation expansion options down here. Oops. There we go. There aren't any built in, but you can add your own as there are things that you say frequently. The other thing to know about this app is that if you're looking for accessibility options, Predictable has a fair amount of accessibility things built in. So I think we talked about Speech Assistant AAC has an app that works with switch control, switch access. This one does as well. If you have head tracking built into your device, similar to on Dialogue AAC, you could do that as well here. But it has lots of different features that you can use here and change for accessibility. You can also change a lot about the appearance. So you can change the color and font size, you can change the templates and things like that. So if there are things that you don't like the colors or where they are, you can change that. If you want to start with the categories instead of the keyboard, you can do that. And then the last thing I'll show you in here is the keyboard. And here you can do the different kinds of keyboards. So if you want it to be ABC, you can kind of see then the keys go in that order. High frequency, we'll put things in kind of an order for when they're most frequently used. The quick keyboard it has a different view as well. And then if you wanted to use the native keyboard for your device, you could, if you didn't want to have it built in. So there are a fair number of options here to customize this. Is there a question? All right.
Using the app to make a phone call on the same phone.
Yes. So there are some of this particular app or any of the apps?
Question just came up.
Okay. So the question was, can you use the app to make a phone call? Any app to make a phone call on the same device. So like if yes, yeah. So if I were using this device on my phone, could I use this during a phone call with someone? So some of them you can, some of them you cannot. So this one here in particular, Predictable, I can on the iOS version. If you have an Android phone, unfortunately, the answer is going to be none of them for all of the apps. Because that is a limitation of Android. I don't know the technical specifics, but I just know for the apps that have versions on both Apple and Android, if they do it on Apple, they say they can't do it on Android. But I believe Predictable, if you are using the iOS version, you can use it on the phone. Proloco for text, you can. Let me see what else was. I think you can use Dialogue AAC as well. And Speech Assistant AAC as well, I think are the ones, let me see if, I think those are the big ones that I know work with the phone if you have an Apple phone. But not all Apple apps will work through the phone. Okay. So let me think here if there's anything else we can add. had about predictable here. Oh, the emojis down here. So if I click my emojis down here, I can use emojis through this app as well. It's a fun little feature. So I could give some heart eyes. I don't know if they speak, but we'll see.
Type "Can I have a glass of water please" face with heart-shaped eyes.
There you go.
Nice.
So they have some emojis built right in as well. All right, so our last app is Grid for iPad. And this is an app that even if you have an iPhone, would not work on iPhone. So this is an app only for iPad, similar to TD Snap. These are apps that only work on the iPad. And in this app, I'm going to go back out here to the Grid Explorer. There are several, I should say a few different options for how I can have it look and be set up. So the first option here was what it opened to, is called Text Talker. And the entire app, regardless of what page set you choose, is a one-time purchase of $400, or you can do a subscription of $10.99 a month. So it is on the more expensive side. In this Text Talker version here, you can see I have my keyboard built in. And that first row above the keyboard here is my word prediction. And then you can see the row above that word prediction is my sentence prediction. And it's taking from the sentences that I have in here. So I say,
please wait while I type.
there we go. If I tap my two little speech bubbles here, that's where you get into your categories and your phrases that sentence prediction is pulling from. So my categories are here along the two sides and kind of that light blue text color. So if I tap on that, that's where I get my phrases. You can see that I can edit these, and I can also add more categories here. If I go back home here. This one has, you can do different conversations here. So if I have the store message button down here in the bottom, so if I click that and say store message, my message will go away and I could have another conversation. But then if I tap retrieve message, it goes back to all of the messages that I have stored. So then I could tap on please wait while I type, and it would take it back to my text window there. If I go into my settings here. Oh, actually, this is the overall app settings, but we can look at the voices here. So this does have the higher quality voices built in, but it also allows you to use the voices from your device as well. So you'll see some of them say from your iPad, but then some of them have, like Ella says, female child. So that's one of the higher quality voices as well. But if I go back here, this page set also has settings as well. I tap that. This is where I can change some of those things right within the app. So I can copy and paste, change my volume. I can go into change keyboard. So it came default with the QWERTY keyboard, but if I wanted the alphabetical keyboard, or if I were using switch access, this one also has some accessibility options. It arranges them by frequency so that as I'm scanning, I get to the letters I would be likely to use more often faster. So that is the Text Talker page set in Grid for iPad. I can also, in Grid for iPad, they have the Alpha Core page set as well. So if I tap that, this one, I can arrange this one in several different ways. So we'll start with, this is the default. If you were just to download it, what it would start with. I have kind of some core vocabulary or words that I might use fairly often here up at the top. So if I just press
Okay.
okay, it would speak. But down here, I do have my keyboard where I could say, going. And here again, I get my word prediction and my phrase prediction based on the phrases that I have programmed in. In this setup, these topic buttons are a little small, but I do have some kind of things here. So I could go into places and it would give me some places as well. You can have some pictures as well because Grid for iPad does have some symbol-based options. I can also just go into my topics, and this is where I can have different topics built in, and I could say them as well. But if I go back to the keyboard, perhaps I don't necessarily want all of the words at the top, or I find that the keyboard is too small. I can go over here into my settings and change my keyboard. Oh, I have a thought back on the no speaking question. Remind me to come back to that. I'm not sure, but I just thought I can either do kind of a standard QWERTY keyboard or a large cell, or if I press other keyboards, I get even more. So I can do, you have a whole lot of different options depending on what your needs are. Even, I think this is the most options we've had for different keyboards. But if I go back, I'm going to choose maybe the QWERTY large cell just for comparison's sake. So this makes it look a little bit more like Text Talker, which we were just looking at. So my keyboard is bigger. I don't have some of the sentence prediction that I had when the keyboard was smaller, but I can still use the word prediction.
Going.
That as well.
2.
I still get my topics down here as well. And then I'm going to go back into the settings over here. Because this is what I'm wondering, this might be like Pro Local for text, that if I change the volume here, it's changing my entire volume. And I'm just curious. I'm going to try it because everyone is different. So I'm going to go back into another app and see. Oh. Sorry, I thought we might. So again, another one that you change the volume in the app is changing the volume on the entire device. So. All right, and then I'm going to go back and see maybe if I do. I want to change the keyboard. If I do the smaller QWERTY keyboard, because there are some in the core word one that maybe is in the topics here. Let's see. There was a sounds option in the first, so maybe not, maybe so. I'm going to go back there just to kind of show you it because I didn't when we were there. But then over here, I have a sounds category, and this is where I can get, have my little bell to get people's attention. They do have these kind of pre-programmed in.
Laugh.
So that if you wanted to add that, you could. And then, but then you can also put in a recorded sound as well. Oops, I guess I need to stop the applause here. Oh, there it goes. So just some, some different features that some of the other ones may not have had.
What about the smojis?
Can you,
That was in the previous.
was it in the previous one?
It was, yeah.
I wonder if Emojis are Smartbox, who makes Grid for iPad. They have their like a kind of an emoji page set. I wonder if can I get to it through?
From the previous one, there was smoji.
I know, I'm just wondering if it's here too as well. Because usually. Before I change, I'll change back so we can see it. But you could, Grid for iPad, you can link page sets so that if there is something, if you wanted to use Text Talker and Alpha Core, you could. But so I'm gonna go back to what I was in before. Whoops, it was not that. All right. Say in the standard one? Is that where you saw it? Or the large?
I think it was the other page. set.
Oh, the tech, oh, gotcha,
Sorry.
gotcha. So in text talker.
Yeah.
Oh, it does have the emoji. So down here is there's emoji. So if I press that, it will change to there's emojis. So this guy is probably something about hunger. So we'll tap him.
Mmm. Mmm.
So oh, he really likes that. So this is where you can get some sounds as well. And then your smiley faces or your sad faces down here kind of change the tone of all of them. So that is another option in Grid for iPad. All right, it is 2:11. So that is all the apps that we had. Are there any more questions, Sarah? All right, and especially for the person who asked the question about sound, we're happy to, if you shoot us an email or do a consult application. I don't know if Sarah shared that link. We're happy to explore that further with you. I don't know if there's the option besides turning down the volume on the entire device, but I'm happy to explore that with you. All right, so we are going to get rid of our iPad here. Oh, we do have questions.
I'm wondering if there's an option to do actual writing on a screen and it
Mm.
comes out in spoken language.
So let me get the iPad back. The one that I know of off the top of my head is predictable. Oh, the question was, is there one where you could use handwriting and then it would use spoken language to speak what you have written? The one that I know of, not saying this is the only one, so we can do a little more looking for you too, is in the keyword here in predictable. I do handwriting. I believe if I go back here, if I write something. And then say speak. Oh, I didn't even have to say speak. It's thinking.
Yes, hello.
So that is one option. Off the top of my head, I can't think of another one. There is an app that may be called, Sarah can maybe look this up. Is there an app called Handy Writer? She's gonna look for me. Because I believe that as well. And we'll let Sarah will look for me. You have another question? What's that?
Is there an app you recommend for people who are non-readers?
Oh, so people who are non-readers, that is maybe what we should have started with, that these apps, the text-based apps are intended for people who have some literacy skills and can, write out their thoughts and or read the buttons. But our workshop from 2 weeks ago, we did our symbol-based apps, and those apps are intended more for those individuals who are not readers because they have symbols built in. So like, I'll go into Grid for iPad because that's easy because it's set up. They have page sets that have more pictures built in, and you can add photos as well. So if you're looking for something for someone who is a non-reader, take a look at that symbol-based workshop we did a couple weeks ago. Any other questions?
Handy speech.
I'll have to, that might not be handy, she's not finding handy right, that might not be the name of it. I'll have to look it up, but if you also email us that question, we can look a little more looking as well, but as predictable is an option for that. All right. So We are at our end here, but thank you so much for joining us. But we do have a workshop evaluation and we would really appreciate your feedback on today. So Sarah will put that link in the chat. It will also, when you leave Zoom, pop up for you as well. If you would like a certificate of attendance, we do need you to fill out that survey. And after you hit finish filling out the questions, there'll either be a done or submit at the bottom. You press that, but then stay on the page that comes up and there'll be some text and it will say something about, please click this blue text to download your certificate. And if you click that, that will bring up the certificate and you can either download it or print it or do whatever you need to do with it. And we will stick around for a couple of minutes if there are any more questions. But thank you so much for joining us. We're glad you came today.
Thank you.
So thank yous.
Yep. All right. We're going to sign off here. But as we mentioned, if you have any questions or things you want to follow up on, please shoot us an email, stc@pacer.org, and one of us will get back to you.